Anoa by Ama Ata Aidoo, narrated by Adamu Abdul-Majid. Characters: Old man, old woman, being the mouth that eats salt and pepper, a man and a woman who don't say a word, Anoa, a young woman who grows up, Kofi, her man who expands, Osam, her father who smokes his pipe, Bedua, her mother who complains at the beginning and cries at the end, Boy, a young slave about 20 years old, Girl, a young slave girl, Penny Nakakra, a pair of boy twins whose duty is to fan an empty chair, Hornblower, other men and women, slaves, carriers, hailing women, drummers, messengers, townspeople. Setting: the stage is divided into two parts, each part with two exits. The upper area is the main stage. The lower stage could be narrower or smaller than the first, and any space between the audience and the real stage can serve this purpose. Music: the Ghanaian forms may be replaced by other African or any other folk music. The atentebeng, which is here intended as a symbol for Anoa, is a single delicate but wild wind instrument. The horn, bulls, is usually old and turned black-brown by sacrificial blood. It is an appendage of the stool and a symbol of state, village, or group power. An individual acquired a horn, but never a stool, if he felt he was rich and powerful enough. In fact, the acquisition of such a horn was a declaration of power. The horn sang the praises of its owners, its language code being very similar to those of drums. The fontonfrom is an essentially dignified low-lumbering drum in a big man's ensemble. Prologue: enter the mouth that eats salt and pepper. Old man always enters first from the left side of the auditorium. Old woman from the right. Each leave in the same direction. She is wizened, leans on a stick, and her voice is raspy with asthma and a lifetime of putting her mouth into other people's affairs. She begins her speeches when she is halfway in and ends them halfway out. Her entries are announced by the tamping of a stick, and whenever she is the last of the two to leave the stage, her exit is marked by prolonged coughing. She is never still and very often speaks with agitation, waving her stick and walking up and down the lower stage. He is serene, and everything about him is more orderly. He enters quietly and leaves after his last statements have been made. The two should never appear or move onto the upper stage. There is a block of wood lying around on which the old man sometimes sits. Here in the state of Abura, which was surely one of the best pieces of land Odumaku, our creator, has given to man, everything happens in moderation. The sun comes out each day, but its heat seldom burns our crops. Rains are good when they fall, and as Asasiefua the earth goddess gives of herself to them that know the seasons. Streams abound, which like all gods must have their angry moments and swell, but floods are hardly known to live in memory. Behind us to the north, Aburabura, our beautiful lonely mountain, sits with a neck to the skies, reminding us that all the earth is not flat. In the south, Nana Bosompo, the ocean roars on, Lord of Tuesdays. His day must be sacred. We know him well, and even the most unadventurous can reap his fish, just sitting on his pretty sand, while for the brave who read the constellations, His billows are easier to ride than the current of a ditch. And you, mighty God, and your host of our forefathers, we do not say this in boastfulness. He bends in the fingers of his right hand as though he were holding a cup, raises it up, and knocks out the motion of pouring a libation, but only in true thankfulness. Praying to you all that things may continue to be good and even get better. But bring your ears nearer, my friends, so I can whisper a secret. Our armies, well organized though they be, are more skilled in quenching fires than the arts of war. So please, let no posterity judge it too bitterly, that in a dangerous moment, the lords of our houses sought the protection of those that came from beyond the horizon against our more active kinsmen from the north. We only wanted a little peace, for which our fathers had broken away from the larger homestead and come to this part, led by the embalmed bodies of three elders. And yet, there is a bigger crime we have inherited from the clans and corporate, of which, lest we forget when the time does come, this force standing at the door of the great ocean shall remind our children, and the sea bear witness. And now, listen, oh, listen, listen. If there be some among us that have found a common sauce bowl, in which they play a game of dipping with a stranger, who shall complain? Out of one womb can always come a disparate breed, and men will always go where the rumbling hunger in their bowels shall be stilled, and that is where they will stay. Oh, my beloved, let it not surprise us then that this one and that one depend for their well-being on the presence of the pale stranger in our midst. Kofi was, is, and shall always be one of us. First sign of old woman. But what shall we say about our child, the unfortunate Anoa? Let us say that Anoa is not a girl to meet every day. That Anoa is something else, like all the beautiful maidens in the tales. She has refused to marry any of the steady men who have asked for a hand in marriage. No one knows what is wrong with her. A child of several incarnations, she listens to her own tales, laughs at her own jokes, and follows her own advice. Some of us think that she has just allowed her unusual beauty to cloud her vision of the world. Beautiful as Kurado Ahima, someone's thin thread, a dainty little pot, well baked, and polished smooth to set in a nobleman's corner. Bedua enters from her door at upper right and moves down, but stops a few steps forward the lower stage and stands looking at old man and old woman. Others think that her mother Bedua has spoiled her shamefully, but let us ask, why should Anoa carry herself so stiffly? Where is she taking her I won't to? Bedua should tell her daughter that the sapling breaks with bending that will not grow straight. Bursting out sadly and pointing her fingers clearly at old man and old woman, but speaking to herself, perhaps it was my fault too. But how could she come to any good when her name was always on the lips of every mouth that ate pepper and salt? She turns round angrily and exits where she had come from. Old man and old woman do not show they had been aware of her. But here is Anoa, and also Kofi. It is now a little less than 30 years when the lords of our houses signed a piece of paper, the bond of 1844 they call it, binding us to the white man who came from beyond the horizon. Exit. And the gods will surely punish Abenda Bidua for refusing to let the born priestess dance. Phase 1. In Yebi. Lower stage. Early evening village noises. For example, the pounding of fufu or millet. A goat bleats loudly. A woman calls a child, etc. Anoa enters from lower right, carrying an empty water pot. She walks to the center of the lower stage, stops and looks behind her. Then she overturns her water pot and sits on it, facing the audience. She is wearing her cloth wrapped around her. The upper parts of her breast are visible, and also all her legs. She is slim and slight of build. She turns her face momentarily towards lower left. During a moment when she was looking at her feet, Kofi enters from the lower right. He is a tall, broad young man and very good looking. The village noises die down. He is in wet clothing and carrying a fish trap and a bundle of baits. He steals quietly up to her and cries, "Hey!" She is startled, but regains her composure immediately. They smile at each other. Just then, a woman comes in from lower left, carrying a wooden tray which is filled with farm produce: cassava, yam, plantain, pepper, tomatoes, etc. Close behind her is a man, presumably a husband, also in work clothing, with a gun on his shoulder and a machete under his arm. They pass by Anoa and Kofi and walk on towards lower right. The woman turns around at every step to stare at the boy and girl, who continue looking shyly at each other. Finally, the woman misses a step or kicks against a block of wood. She falls, her trays crashing down. Anoa and Kofi burst into loud, uncontrollable laughter. Assisted by her husband, the woman begins to collect her things together. Having got her load back on her head, she disappears, followed by her husband. Meanwhile, Anoa and Kofi continue laughing and go on doing so a little while after the lights have been removed from them. Upper stage, the courtyard of Maami Bedua and Papa Osam's cottage. Village noises as in the previous scene. Standing in the center of an earthen hearth with tripod cooking pots, there are a couple of small household tools standing around. By the right wall is a lie-in chair which belongs exclusively to Papa Osam. Whenever he sits down, he sits in it. By the chair is a small table. The lower stage here represents a section of a village-side street from which there is an open entrance into the courtyard. In the background, upper left and upper right, are doors connecting the courtyard to the inner rooms of the house. In the pot, something is cooking, which throughout the scene, Mami Bedua will go and stare. By the hearth is a small vessel into which she puts the ladle after each stirring. Bedua enters from upper right, goes to the hearth, picks up the ladle, and stirs the soup. She is talking loudly to herself. Any mother will be concerned if her daughter refused to get married 6 years after her puberty. If I do not worry about this, what shall I worry about? Osam enters from upper left, smoking his pipe. Besides, a woman is not a stone, but a human being. She grows. Woman. Bedua turns to look at him. That does not mean you should break my ears with your complaints. He looks very composed. What did you say, Osam? I say you complain too much. He goes to occupy the lying chair and exclaims, "Ah," with satisfaction. Seriously, are you trying to send me insane? Would that shut you up? Kofi Sam. Now she really is angry. Yes, my wife. Bedua breathes audibly with exasperation. She begins pacing up and down the courtyard with a ladle in her hand. Moving quickly up to Osam. So it is nothing at all. Stretching the utterance of the last word. To you, that your child is not married and goes round wild, making everyone talk about her? Which is your headache? That she is not yet married, or that she is wild? Hmm. You know that I am a man, and getting daughters married is not one of my duties. Getting them born, aha, but not finding them husbands. Hmm. Paces up and down. And may the ancestral spirit help me. But what man will I order from the heavens to please the difficult eyes of my daughter Anoa? Hmm. She goes and stirs the soup, and this time remembers to put the ladle down. She stands musing by the heath. As for her wildness, what do you want me to say again about that? I have always asked you to apprentice her to the priestess to quieten her down. But, roused again, Beduwa moves quickly back to where he is, and, meanwhile, cocks both her ears with two fingers and shakes her head to make sure he notices what she's doing. Chuckles. Play children's game with me, my wife. One day you will click your fingers with regret that you did not listen to me. She removes her fingers from her ears. I have said it, and I will say it again and again and again. I am not going to turn my daughter into a dancer priestess. What is wrong with priestesses? I don't say there is anything wrong with them. Did you not console them over and over again when you could not get a single child from your womb to live beyond one day? Reflectively, oh yes, I respect them, I honor them, I fear them. Yes, my husband, I fear them, but my only daughter shall not be a priestess. They have so much glory and dignity. But in the end, they are not people. They become too much like the gods they interpret. As she enumerates the attributes of priesthood, her voice grows hysterical and her face terror-stricken. Osan removes his pipe and stares at her, his mouth open with amazement. They counsel with spirits. They read into other men's souls. They swallow dog eyes, jump fires, drink good blood, ship milk without flinching or vomiting. They do not feel, as you and I, they have no shame. She relaxes, and Osam does too, the latter sighing audibly. Bedua continues, her face slightly turned away from both her husband and the audience. I want my child to be a human woman, marry a man, tend a farm, and be happy to see her peppers and her onions grow. A woman like her should bear children, many children, so she can afford to have one or two die. Should she not take her place at meetings among the men and women of the clan, and sit on my chair when I am gone? And a captainship in the army should not be beyond her when the time is ripe. Or Sam nods his head and exclaims, Oh, oh. But the priestess lives too much in her own and other people's mind, my husband. Sighing again, my wife, people with better visions than yours or mine have seen that Anoa is not like you or me, and a prophet with a lock map is neither a prophet nor a man. Besides, the yam that will burn shall burn, boiled or roasted. She picks up the ladle, but does not stir the pot. She throws her arms about. Since you want to see Nkomfo and Nsofo, seers and dancers, from the distance, Mother, that is her coming. Father, oh yes. Well, let us keep quiet about her affairs then. You know what heart lies in her chest. Mother, father, father, mother, mother. Osam jumps up and, confused, he and Bedua keeps bumping into each other as each moves without knowing why or where he or she is moving. Bedua still has the ladle in her hands. Why do you keep hitting me? Mother, sorry, I did not mean to, but you watch your step too. Father, and where is she? Anowa runs in, lower right, with her empty water pot. Hey, why do you frighten me so? And where is the water? Oh, mother. She stops running and stays on the lower stage. What is it? Her eyes swerving from the face of one to the other. Oh, father. Say whatever you have got to say and stop behaving like a child, calling us from the street. What have you got to tell us that couldn't wait until you reached here? Oh, father. And look at her. See here, It is time you realize that you have grown up, moving a step or two forward. Mother. And now, what is it? Besides, where is the water? I am sure this household will not go to bed to count the beams tonight, since there is no water to cook with. Mother, father, I have met the man I want to marry. What is she saying? I say, I have found the man I would like to marry. Eh? Long pause, during which Bedua stares at Anoa with her head tilted to one side. Kofi asked me to marry him, and I said I will, too. Eh? 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 Light dies on all three and comes on again almost immediately. Osama is sitting in his chair, and the one hovers around, and she has a chewing stick in her mouth, with which she scrubs her teeth when she is not speaking. Bedua is sitting by the heap doing nothing. Mother, you have always been at me for a long time to get married, and now that I have found someone I like very much. Anoa, shut up. Shut up. Push your tongue into your mouth and close it. Shut up because I never counted Kofi among my sons-in-law. Anoa, why Kofi? Of all the mothers that are here in Yabi, should I be the one whose daughter will want to marry this fool? This good-for-nothing cassava man? This watery meal of all watery meals? This I am the handsome one with a stick between my teeth in the marketplace? This, this. Oh, mother. Quietly. I say, Anoa, why did you not wait for a day when I was cooking banku and your father was drinking palm wine in the marketplace with his friends? When you could have snatched the ladle from my hands and hit me with it, and taken your father's wine from his hands and throw it to his face? Anoa, why did you not wait for a day like that, since you want to behave like the girl in the folktale? But what are you talking about, mother? And you, Kobna Sam, will you not say anything? Abna Bedua, leave me out of this. You know that if I so much as whisper anything to do with Anoa, you and your brothers and your uncles would tell me to go and straighten out the lives of my nieces. This is your family drum. Beat it, my wife. I did not ask for any riddles. Mm. Just remember, I was smoking my pipe. If you had been any other father, you would have known what to do and what not to do. Perhaps, but that does not mean I would have done anything. And the way you used to talk, I thought if Anoa came to tell you she was going to get married to Kwekwa Nancy, or indeed the devil himself, you would spread a rich cloth before her to walk on, and probably sacrifice an elephant. And you know you do not know what Kofi is like. What is he like? My lady, I have not asked you a question. And one retires into silence. She scratches her teeth noisily. How could I know what he is like? Does he not come from Nsona House? And is not that one of the best houses that is here in Yebi? Has he an ancestor who unclothed himself to nakedness? Had the unmentionable killed himself or another man? And if all that is there to a young man is that his family has an unspoiled name, then what kind of man is he? Are he and his wife going to feed on stones when he will not put a blow into the ticket, or at least learn a trade? Anyway, I have said long ago that I was removing my mouth from my daughter Anoa's marriage. Did I not say that? She will not allow herself to be married to any man who came to ask for a hand from us and of whom we approved. Did you not know then that when she chose a man, it might be one of whom we would disapprove? But why should she want to do a thing like that? My wife, do remember, I am a man of a woman who also had 5 sisters. It is a long time since I gave up trying to understand the human female. Besides, if you think well of it, I am not the one to decide finally whom Anoa is to marry. Her uncle, your brother, is there, is he not? You would better consult him, because I know your family. They will say I desperately married Anoa to a fool to spite them. Father, Kofi is not a fool. My daughter, please forgive me. I am sure you know him very well, and it is only by way of speaking. Kwame! Kwame! I thought the boy was around somewhere. Moves towards the lower stage and looks around. What are you calling him for? To go and call us her uncle and your brother. Could we have not waited until evening or dawn tomorrow? For what shall we wait for the dawn? To settle the case. What case? Who says I want to settle cases? If there is a case to settle, that is between you and your people. It is not everything one chooses to forget. Bedua, certainly, I remember what happened in connection with Anoa's dancing. That is, if you don't mind, did they not say in the end that it was I who had prevented her from going into apprenticeship with a priestess? Light dies on them and comes on a little later. Anoa is dressed in a two-piece cloth. She darts in and out of upper right with very quick movements. She is packing her belongings into a little basket. Every now and then, she pauses, looks at her mother, and sucks her teeth. Bediwa complains as before, but this time tearfully. Osam is lying in his chair smoking. I am in disgrace, so suck your teeth at me. Silence. Other women certainly have happier tales to tell about motherhood. Silence. I think I am just an unlucky woman. Mother, I do not know what is wrong with you. And how would you know what is wrong with me? Look here, Anoa. Marriage is like a piece of cloth. I like mine. It is none of your business. And like cloth, its beauty passes with wear and tear. I do not care, mother. Have I not told you that this is to be my marriage and not yours? My marriage? Why should it be my daughter who will want to marry the good for nothing cassava man? He is mine, and I like him. If you like him, do like him. The men of his house do not make good husbands. Ask older women who are married to Nsona men. You know what you are saying is not true. Indeed, from the beginning of time, Nsona men make the best of husbands. Bedua glares at him. This does not even worry me, and it should not worry you, mother. It's up to you, my mistress, who knows everything. But remember, my lady, when I am too old to move, I shall still be sitting by these walls, waiting for you to come back with your rags and nakedness. You do not have to wait because we shall not be coming back here in Yebi. Not for a long, long time. Mother, not for a long, long time. Of course, if I were you, I wouldn't want to come back with my shame either. You'll be surprised to know that I'm going to help him do something with his life. Ah! I wish I could turn into a bird and come and stand on your rooftop watching you make something of that husband of yours. What was he able to make of the plantation of palm trees his grandfather gave him? And the virgin land his uncles gave him? What did he do with that? Please, mother, remove your waste mat from my marriage. Osam jumps up and from now on hovers between the two, trying to make peace. Hey, Anoa, what is wrong with you? Are you mad? How can you speak like that to your mother? But father, mother does not treat me like a daughter. And so you call me a witch? The thing is, I wish I was a witch so that I could protect you from your folly. I do not need your protection, mother. The spirit of my fathers. Anoa, What daughter talks like this to her mother? But father, what mother talks to her daughter the way mother talks to me? And now, mother, I am going, so take your witch free to eat in the sea. Hey, Anoa! Thank you, my daughter. Bedua and Anoa try to jump on each other. Bedua attempts to hit Anoa, but Osam quickly intervenes. What has come over this household? Tell me what has come over this household. And to you, Bedua, what has come over you? You leave me alone, Osam. Why don't you speak to Anoa? She is your daughter. I am not. Well, she is not mature. That one makes me laugh. Who is not mature? Has she not been mature enough to divine me out and discover I am a witch? Did she not choose her husband single-headed? And isn't she leaving home to make a better success for her marriage? Anoa, have you made up your mind to leave? But father, mother is driving me away. Who is driving you away? You, who does not know here in Yabi that from the day I came to tell you that Kofi and I were getting married, you have been drumming into my ears what a disgrace this marriage is going to be for you? Didn't you say that your friends are laughing at you? And they are saying, very soon, I'll be sharing your clothing because my husband will never buy me any. Father, I am leaving this place. She picks up the basket, puts it on her head, and moves down towards the lower left. Yes, go. I am on my way, mother. And where is your husband? I am going to look for him. Anoa, stop. But Anoa behaves as if she had not heard him. Anoa, you must not leave in this manner. Let her go, and may she walk well. Mother, I shall walk so well that I will not find my feet back here again. She exits lower left, Osan's face with disdain, then stares at Bedua for a long time. She slowly bows her head in a fold of her cloth and begins to weep quietly as the lights die on them. Enter the mouth that eats salt and pepper. Hey, hey, hey. And what do the children of today want? Eh? What will the children of today have us do? Parenthood was always a very expensive affair. But it seems now there is no man or woman created in nature who is endowed with enough powers to be a mother or father. Old man enters and walks up to the middle of the lower stage, passing old woman on the way. Listen, listen. The days when children obey their elders have run out. If you tell a child to go forward, he will surely step backwards. If you ask him to move back a pace, he will run 10 leagues. But what makes your heart raise itself in anger so? What disturbs you? Some of us feel the best way to sharpen a knife is not to whet one side only, and neither can you solve a riddle by considering one end of it. We know too well how difficult children of today are, but who begat them? Is a man a father for sleeping with a woman and making her pregnant? And does bearing a child after 9 months make her a mother? Or is she the best potter who knows her clay and how it breathes? Are you saying that a good parent would not tell his child what should and should not be done? How can I say a thing like that? And must we lie down and have our children playing games on our bellies if this is what they want? She spits. Oh no, no one in his rightful mind would say that babies should be free to do what they please. But Abuna Bedua should have known that Anoa wanted to be something else, which she herself had not been. They say from a very small age, she had the hot eyes and nimble face of one born to dance for the gods. Our ears are breaking with that one. Who heard the Creator telling Anoa what she was coming to do with her life here? And is that why after all the I don't like this and I don't like that, She has gone and married Kofi Ako. Tell me what is wrong in that. Certainly, some of us thought she had ordered a completely new man from the heavens. Are people angry because she chose her own husband? Or is there something wrong with the boy? As for that boy, they say he combs his hair too often and stays too long at the intergames. Who judges a man of name by his humble beginnings? Don't ask me. They say Bedua does not want him for a son-in-law. She should thank her God that Anoa has decided to settle down at all. But then, we all talk too much about those two. And yet, this is not the first time since the world began that a man and a woman have decided to be together against the advice of grey haired crows. What foolish words! Some people babble as though they borrowed their grey hair and they did not grow them on their own heads. Beidua should have told her daughter that the infant which writes its milk seed on every bone and stone grows up with nothing to eat dried meat with. She exerts noisily. I am certainly a foolish old man, but I think there is no need to behave as though Kofiako and Anoa have brought an evil concoction here. Perhaps it is good for them that they have left Yebi to go and try to make their life somewhere else. As the lights go out, a blending of the Atenteben with any ordinary drum,